The reality that you desire to experience depends on your self-belief getting the W when self-doubt tries to take it down. Don't be afraid to believe in yourself. Self-belief makes such a huge difference in whether you're going to create a life that is by intention, design, and vision that fills you up or not. If and when doubt comes in and wants to bully your self-belief, you have to believe in yourself like you're fucking getting paid for it. Self-mastery can never be achieved if you are not operating from your authentic self. Anytime that you decide to not be true to your authentic self, just know that you're being controlled by something. Your autonomy is not there. And we don't want that. You want to be free. This is the Roxanne Show. Get ready. It's time to rise. Okay. We're rolling. What's up? I am going to start from the beginning. Okay. Let me bring this over here. Let's go all the way. I'm starting. We're going. We're here. We are at the Roxanne Show. Or are we in it? Are we on it? By the way, this is staying in here. I love little messy real starts like this. No, I'm excited. Today's episode, I'm going to share some of my writing, as I do often on the podcast. I'm going to give you some prose. I'm going to elaborate on what I'm sharing in my writing and take you to deeper levels of it, all of which are designed to ground you into your authentic self, to help you trust your intuition more, to help you listen and trust your heart. So to evoke more courage and confidence and self-love, all the things that are really important for every single one of us. First of all, just to function our lives with, but also, when you're really building out a life from vision, the life that you truly want to live and experience, not an idea of life that has been packaged and put into your, experience that this is what you should do, but like what truly lights you up, then these ideas that I'm going to share with you are going to be really, really supportive, because while it is a very fulfilling life and pursuit, certainly an honorable one, it's not an easy one, and that's okay. We don't want it to always be easy. That would not even, what would that do for us? We need challenge. We need friction at times so that we can fortify ourselves. So these writing passages, this prose that I'm going to share with you, will also help to strengthen you, your resilience, your mindset. So let's get into it. So this is a series that is titled Don't Be Afraid. So every piece of prose that I'm going to read starts with don't be afraid. So this whole series is called Don't Be Afraid. Don't be afraid to believe in yourself. Self-belief is the most powerful world-creating force. There will be so many moments when self-doubt tries to take over you. Smile at it. Laugh at it. It's okay if it makes you question yourself at times. Just don't allow the answer to submit your self-belief. The reality you desire to experience depends on it. The reality that you desire to experience depends on it. Depends on your self-belief getting the W when self-doubt tries to take it down. Don't be afraid to believe in yourself. It's so important. One of my other quotes that really has hit home with people, it hit home to me when I downloaded this, was believe in yourself like you're getting paid for it. Self-belief makes such a huge difference in whether you're going to create a life that is by intention, design, and vision that fills you up or not. There's a lot of challenges that we're all going to face at any point of our life, no matter what path we choose to take, right? the person who opts in to, I'm going to trust my heart. I'm going to build my life from a place of like a pursuit of passion, something that really lights me up, something that just feels right and true for me. You're going to have to believe in yourself like you're getting paid for it. Because a lot of times this pursuit means you're going against the grain. You're going against the norm. You're doing things differently. You're doing, or it's just, there's just also just tons of, like, it's hard to build a 7-figure business, like, period, right? Whether that's a heart-centric business or not, it's just hard to build a, 7-figure business. But if it's something, again, more deep and meaningful to you, and perhaps maybe more just unusual, unique, then it's the terrain is going to be it's going to be fucking rugged, and it's going to have you question yourself a lot of times. That's why in here I said it's okay if it makes you question yourself at times. Just don't allow the answer to submit your self-belief. There are periods on my journey, I mean, before this portion of my career life, where I get to show up and be me and build all this out for my heart. I mean, I was a freelance artist for ever, like 2 decades, and that's a whole nother beast. And the level of self-belief that I had to operate with to climb, first, forget about climbing, just surviving, survive and then climb, right? It was gnarly. Like it was a lot. And there were so many moments where the question would come in, where the doubt would come in. Like, it's just happening for me. Like, am I actually making the progress towards the big vision that I have for myself? Like, is it ever, am I going to have the breakthroughs? Like, all the things, those questions, they absolutely would come in. The question is not the enemy. The response may be. It depends, right? And this is where I'm really reinforcing this idea that the question, in fact, can be a support system if that answer is, no, I fucking believe in myself. I believe what I'm doing. I believe in this pursuit. I believe in my mission. Now that question, that doubt-based question, just fortified your self-belief. See? So it's actually like, I just jujitsu that motherfucker, right? I just I just did a sweep right there on self-doubt. That's what you want to do. Sweep self-doubt, like fucking, and get the win, get the submission with your self-belief. So it's okay if doubt comes in. There's no way that you're not going to have moments where you're questioning, especially if you're pursuing something, again, that's just different than the norm. And whatever big means, I mean, the bigger the vision, could also mean the bigger the doubt that comes in. But if you really, really feel that this is your thing in life, and it doesn't, listen, I'm not going to turn this into like a purpose episode. I've actually recorded one on purpose, and I'm sure I'll do it again. I want to stick to the pros here, but I think it's important just to insert this because we're just right here. Listen, your thing can turn out being several things, right? But here's the main part. Whatever chapter you're on right now in your life, your journey, so long as it feels absolutely in alignment with you, like you're going for it, this feels good and right to you at this point in your life, if and when doubt comes in and wants to bully your self-belief, you have to believe in yourself like you're fucking getting paid for it. And I hope that statement, write it down, put it on your fridge, believe in yourself like you're getting paid for it. Because ultimately you are. First of all, regardless of the outcome, you get to pursue something that matters to you. You get to pursue something that is unique to what drives you. It's not just this thing that you think you should be doing or thing that looks good on paper or whatever, it's like it's an original fucking pursuit. Original meaning like this is my thing. So anyways, I'll end up falling off a cliff right here and I want to move us through the pros, but believe in yourself like you're getting paid for it. Self-doubt comes in, that's fine. Laugh at it, smile at it. Look at the question, look it in the face, and then sweep it with your self-belief and get the W and then keep moving on. Keep moving on. Next. Don't be afraid to express your authentic self. It's the truth that vibrates in your heart. You came here to express yourself, not suppress yourself. Your self-expression is part of your life force. It curates a life that fills you up. Your uniqueness is your unfair advantage. Don't run from it. Run towards it. Run towards it. The authentic self is always a part of the conversation with me. It is built into the core of my work. Self-mastery can never be achieved if you are not operating from your authentic self. Period. So Robert Greene wrote a book called Mastery, and it's a really, really epic book. And I can't remember if he ever said it word for word like that, but he pulls on that thread, that's a requirement to live a life of mastery. You have to be operating from this truth within you, and this, I want to pursue this. I'm going to do this. Even if it doesn't, anything out here make sense to you, look good, I'm a dreamer, all the things, I'm like, doesn't matter. It's who I truly am. It's what I truly feel connected to. And I'm going to truly fucking go for it. So that's even just like pursuing your life, but going into the pros deeper. It's not just authentic self to build out your career. This is just you showing up and being you in every moment, in every domain of your life. So my kind of simple way of talking about the authentic self, like how do you kind of narrow it down? And by no means does it cover all aspects of what does it even mean, your authentic self. But a simple way to kind of think about this is, what does your heart truly say yes to, and what does it truly say no to? And where are you in terms of making your choices, your decisions within that? Like, are you saying no when you really want to say yes? Or are you saying yes when you want to say no? It's oftentimes you can kind of narrow it down to that, and it's not easy. It's scary. It depending on the situation too, like being authentic, can feel really unsettling at times, also making decisions. Again, maybe it's, I don't really feel right in this relationship anymore, or I don't feel like this job or career path is really giving me life, or maybe this city I'm living in isn't, or maybe this friendship just doesn't feel right to me anymore, or any and all of that. I mean, there's so many different ways, but it's how are you responding to that? Are you being true to yourself in those situations, or are you kind of just going with the situation, because then that's where we tend to betray ourselves. And it happens for a lot of reasons. I mean, I think in overall, we're not really, we don't come into this life with people encouraging us to be who we truly are. So it's hard to actually get to know who you truly are, unless you're a nerd like me and you start doing this work. But no, it's because if you think about it, we're always being told what to do and how to do it. And, this is the way, this is not the way, this is how you become successful. This is what you need to do. So, your self-expression, your authentic self-expression oftentimes will become suppressed. And I truly believe that when When you suppress your authentic self, this is where you suffer in life. To suppress your authentic self is to create suffering internally. Whether that's something that you're going to feel right away or not, that it depends. But the more that you suppress your true essence, your true nature, and everything that comes with that, the decisions that you really want to make, not the ones you think you should make or the ones, any of that. Like it's going to lead to suffering. I mean, think about it. It's so simple, actually. When you can truly express yourself, your authentic self, I mean, you're fucking free. Freedom is a core value of mine. Number one, authentic self, authenticity. Number two, they really go hand in hand. Because if you are, I hope this really, what I'm about to say really just sticks. Anytime that you decide to not be true to your authentic self, just know that you're being controlled by something. Fear, usually. Fear of loss of something. That's usually the case. But you're still being controlled. Your autonomy is not there. And we don't want that. You want to be free. You want to be able to, and by the way, this is also important to say, that doesn't mean, authentic self-expression doesn't mean that you have to share everything you're thinking about all the time because it's a truth for you. No, not at all. It just means, are you being honest with yourself in the ways that are building out your life and allowing you to engage with life in this truthful manner, right? It's really self-expression, authentic self-expression is so important to me. It's what I am here to do. You ask me what my purpose is, it is to fully express myself in all the ways that I'm here to do it. And by the way, your authentic self-expression, you're evolving all the time, right? So my self-expression in my 20s might look a lot different than my 40s. In a lot of ways, it actually does, right? But for me, it's staying true to every iteration of my evolution, my authentic evolution and self-expression. This is how I can live a true life. And ultimately, it's how I can live with autonomy and to be a liberated woman, a sovereign woman. So don't be afraid to be your authentic self, to express your authentic self. It's okay if it's scary, but to be afraid and to be scared, it's actually two different. It sounds the same, but it's actually a different feeling. Being afraid is different. You can still take action from there. I'm scared. It feels more like it's going to kind of lock you in. It's like a cave, right? So don't get caved in by the discomfort that can come with being who you truly are. It's so important. Don't be afraid to live from your heart. To live from your heart is to live from your true self, your pure self. This is where you are the most magnetic. This is the path of the brave. The path you crave is the path that loves you, that reveres you, that expands you. Your heart knows this path because your heart is this path. Trust it. I really love that. As a writer, I just have to, The path you crave is the path that loves you, that reveres you, that expands you. Your heart knows this path because your heart is this path. Trust it. I'm telling you, full body fucking chills. Truth bumps. I talk about it so much and will continue to because it needs it. The heart needs a new fucking publicist, and your girl here is signed up for life. It needs a rebrand, and trust me, I've got a lot of things that I'm creating right now that will be put forth in the world that will help establish the rebrand. Because all we've been groomed to believe is that the heart is deceptive and don't trust it. And we've honored and we have revered the rational mind. And listen, I fucking love intellect. I am a geek. I am a nerd. Most of you would think my life is boring because I love to read and just like, I love fucking learning. And I love using my reasoning skills and analytical thinking. And I mean, I love it. I fucking love it. And yet it's not what leads me. You know, back in the day, I remember I started writing, I feel my way through life. Now I understand what I was saying back then without even totally understanding. I mean, I knew what I was feeling when I wrote those words, but now I totally get it. It's like, yeah, Roxanne, because you live from your heart. So your heart can feel, it feels its way through, which by the way, doesn't mean that the heart doesn't have any kind of, the heart has a brain, right? So this is not just the only center for emotions and feelings. No, there is heart wisdom. There is heart intelligence. It's just that wisdom and intelligence, the rational mind can't process and understand fully. So it almost feels like it doesn't, because the rational mind can't make full sense of it, it degrades it. It puts it down, like as if, you know, all hail the rational mind. If it doesn't go through that filter and pass the test, then it's, you know, you're a dreamer. Well, call me a fucking dreamer then. And I'll show you how many dreams I've made come true, because I lead with my heart. I lead with my intuition. And then I use my mind, because we love the mind. I'm fucking mindset all day long. I mean, that's this podcast, right? But I believe that when you don't trust your heart, ultimately, you just don't trust yourself, because your heart is at the center of your being. It's so important. You know, it's how we can access our intuition. I always say the heart it's the voice of your intuition and your authentic self. I group it together, right? Your authentic self is not coming from up here. That's for fucking sure. That's where all the programs are, you know, not first anyways. You know, I'm not saying that your mind can't have anything to do with your authentic self. Absolutely. Your values, you know, boundaries, you know, these things are really important, and they do come from, you know, your mind has a lot to do with it. But your heart is, from my perspective, it's really it's the center of your essence, your soul. So it knows best how to guide you through your life for you to thrive, for you to fully express yourself, for you to be whoever it is that you're fucking here to be and experience that life in technicolor. And you know, where it goes wrong is when we don't trust it. And a lot of times the ego shit gets misplaced and gets, you know, the heart has to take the fucking rap for it. It's, oh, I followed my heart and I got hurt. No, you probably fucking followed your ego. And it's not to say that you can't get hurt because you followed your heart, but that doesn't necessarily mean that hurt wasn't something that was there to serve you in some way. I know that that's happened for me, but honestly, I mean, I think about it now and I'm like, man, you know, sure, my heart has put me in positions that have challenged the fuck out of me. I mean, I'm in it now, you know, just building out the life that I'm building now. It's like I'm in the lion's den so often, going up against uncertainty like a motherfucker, you know? And, you know, because my heart knows, she knows that I'm capable. She knows that, you know, I'm not here to play small, that any challenge that I'm here to face is a challenge that will only fortify me, that will only expand me, evolve my consciousness, my wisdom, which what does that end up doing? Well, it's something certainly for me, but it also ends up doing something for you, because this is my work, you know what I mean? And I pour it out. So It's not a negative if, anything that you're pursuing that feels heart centric gives you a hard time. No, I think we need to forget about that. The heart is not a hedonic, treadmill. Like, it's not going to just give you pleasurable experiences. So that's really important to say, right? We don't want to just think like, oh, heart. So lollipops and fucking fluffy things. It's soft. It's easy. Hell no. Have you ever watched Rocky? One of my favorite movies. One of my favorite fucking champions who I talk about all the time. That's heart. That's heart. Taking all those beatings, whether it was in the fucking ring or in his life, and he kept getting back up and getting after it. That's heart. So heart's not always going to be feeling good, but it will allow you to live a life of honor because you're living a life of truth, a life that is true for you. And that is an honorable life. And to live with that kind of honor, you want to talk about self-respect. You want to talk about self-love. Self-ownership, integrity. All of that comes within that honor. So it's a very, it's an honorable way to live, to trust your heart, but it's also going to bring you into the most incredible experiences that if you were just living from your mind and letting upstairs run you, you're going to miss. There's no way, because you're going to always need proof. You're going to need to feel safe. You're never going to bet on yourself. It's not going to happen. Whereas the heart is like, listen, I know this is scary. It doesn't make sense, but do you trust me? Do you trust that going this way is for you? And the more that you can just fucking do that shit and you build that, you're building self-trust and you're ultimately building a life that is going to give you more substance, fulfillment. You're just going to be more vital. You're going to be someone who, like I said in this piece of prose, you are going to be more magnetic. You're that person who walks in a room and people can fucking feel your frequency because you're living from your center. And sadly, most aren't. So you will stand out. Trust your heart. Don't be afraid to trust your heart. I just want you to know, if you're watching this on YouTube and my mascara is smeared, it's because I just went into a serious laughing fit. Good vibes will do that. Oh man, how funny. Okay, let's roll into this next one. It's very important. All right. It's just, you know what it is when I try and take myself too serious, it just doesn't work. So let's not. Let's just have fun with this. Next one. Don't be afraid to trust your intuition. It's a gift that urges you to unwrap it, to lean into it, to move from its sacredness. It's a secret language between your human self and your soul self. It's the voice of your heart and soul. It's a silent bridge to trusting yourself. So that obviously plays off a lot from where I just was with don't be afraid to trust your heart, right? And I said that from my framework, it's your intuition is the voice of your authentic self. It's the voice of your heart. Here, we'll take this even deeper. I believe that, we have human self and we have soul, spirit self, kind of same thing, right? I like both words. So I kind of group them together. And I believe that our heart is literally, it's the bridge. It's how we bridge human self and spirit and soul self, right? So I'll just say spirit self or soul self. So the heart is the bridge between human self and soul self. So the more that we tap into our heart, where we can actually access intuition. So we have gut, right? We have three brains. Let's go there really quick. We have brain up here, up top, right? That we all know about. Heart actually has a brain and gut actually has a brain too. So fascinating. So, you feel it in your gut, like that's actually a real thing, right? But we can actually feel things in our heart too. And the heart is at the center, right? So heart is really, first of all, connecting these two brains, right? Gut, mind, it's between both. And then also, I just feel like when when intuition is really coming through, I feel it in the center. I feel like it is coming through the heart. To not be afraid to trust your intuition. This is so important. I've already touched on this a little bit, but to bring it into this piece for the pros, we're not designed to really lean into our intuition. It's a lot easier to be controlled when you don't trust your intuition, when you don't listen to your heart. Your mind will be controlled before your heart could ever be. Your mind will be controlled before your heart will ever be. That is such a fucking important statement. And maybe like immediately it's like, oh, romance, let me tell you something. If you went through some shit, first of all, hugs in your room. We've all been there. But a lot of times, whatever you're going through, it's not like, oh, it's no. Something has happened in the mind. There's programming, there's insecurities, there's attachment style. Like that's not coming from your heart. It's not. Again, heart has a new publicist here. It's not coming from the heart. The heart is so gracious. She has just taken the fucking bad reputation that has just been bestowed upon her. And it's all a fallacy. I'm telling you right now, it's just easier to control people that don't trust their hearts and that don't listen to their intuition. And I'm encouraging you to fucking learn how to do that if you don't know already, or keep reinforcing that the skill really to listen to your intuition and then make your moves from it. Let it show you the way. It takes a lot of guts to trust your intuition. Because again, a lot of times it's like, it might want to lead you somewhere that doesn't look like it makes sense. Or maybe it already puts you in positions that, you're not getting an immediate feedback. Like I think of this in the business realm, right? You might be like urged to go this way, but you don't get that immediate feedback that says, oh, you did the quote unquote right thing. Doesn't matter. You got to fucking, if your intuition is telling you, then go that way, do that thing. You probably really do want to listen to it. And if you don't, that's okay too. I've done that before. And you know what it showed me? Don't ever fucking do that again. And that sometimes is the route. It's like, oh, you knew, Roxanne. Intuition's like, don't act like no, we did our job over here. You decided to, for whatever reason, not listen. And that's okay. This is my intuition talking to me. We didn't judge you. We let you do your thing because you have the choice. This is on you. But we did our part, right? And I'm sure you can think of a moment or maybe many in your life where, you had that feeling, whether you want to call it gut instinct or the thought came up and something, but you didn't move from it. You went the other way. And then you got some kind of experience that made you look back at that, gut feeling or that thought or that fucking whatever it was. And you're like, damn, I really did. I had a feeling about that person, or I had a feeling about doing that thing or whatever it was. Right. And that's okay. Like if that's you, maybe that's you right now. Oh my gosh, let me give this to you. First of all, just say thank you that your intuition did show up for you. Right. And don't beat yourself up, because I like in my experience, part of how I've learned, not fully, because I've gone more with my intuition than not, but there have been moments where I didn't listen. And those moments are just as valuable to me as every time that I did operate with, just taking the lead from my intuitive feeling. Those moments where I didn't were just as important, because they really reinforced, first of all, how powerful my intuition is, because my intuition wasn't wrong. At all. It was just that I chose to not listen. So to be the student of yourself is to not judge yourself. The more you can't judge and learn at the same time. So the minute you start judging yourself, you've now closed the doors on being able to even kind of look back at those moments or look at that moment and go, fuck, what do I need to learn about this situation? So that way next time I can operate differently, right? Judgment won't let you do that. Being open and being curious will. So always trade that judgment. When you feel it too, coming in, like judgment just sounds like, curious. I mean, it just sounds curvy. It's like, I want to hang out with you. You just sound more fun. You lived in judgment, right? All this to say, to close the loop on trusting your intuition and this prose is that while it may be scary, and I know it will, at probably several moments of your life, that's okay. We're okay. We can be afraid. We don't want to live scared, right? I talked about that earlier. We can feel uncertain, but uncertain about whatever we're feeling, like, oh shit, we can want to question it. But when it's your intuition, I'm actually going to be recording a whole episode on intuition and how to make decisions from your intuition. When it's your intuition, it's so interesting because it's like, it's almost hard to put into words. It's usually the first thing because like immediately it will come up, but then very quickly after that, your brain captures it. And now it's up here and this is where it gets messy and this is where we're unsure and all that. But intuition just feels like a fucking truth. Like there's a resonance of truth there, right? It comes in and it's so, depending on the situation, just thinking back about my own life right now, but depending on the situation, it doesn't have to be an aggressive feeling, right? It's not like run. It's not like that. Like that's actually to me instinct, like get out. Intuition is just more like, he's not for you. It's very stoic. It's so composed because it doesn't need to be anything but composed because it is the truth. It could just hold steady in that energy, right? And when it starts to feel frantic or frictiony or whatever, well, now we know you're upstairs. Now we know that you're not, it's not the purity of your intuition. So intuition is very stoic. That's actually a really fucking powerful way to remember it. That feeling is stoic. It's very composed and it can come in really fast and it's hard, but then, to grasp. But the minute you start feeling frictiony about something, I don't know. No. Now the mind has a hold of it. So it takes practice. And the more that you say yes to your intuition as it comes up, the stronger you get with like any practice, right? You're putting in the reps. But it is one of the most important skills that all of us can develop and contributes to a life that gives us the most incredible experiences, experiences that could not just be developed from upstairs. So many of the greats that have made the world come together as we know it. I mean, Albert Einstein. I mean, there's just so many. They like give credit to, I can't remember which composer, if it was Beethoven, but where these ideas, or Mozart, where the ideas come through, it's not because you're sitting there and you're thinking about it and the rational mind is giving it to you. It's an intuitive feeling that comes in. I know that to be true for my writing. Abso-fucking-lutely. If I start to be all brainy about it, it has to come through and channel. Now I'm way out in the fringes, but that's okay. I do that sometimes. Closing the loop. Don't be afraid to trust your intuition. The grand finale. Don't be afraid to be misunderstood as you follow your dreams. Many won't understand your life desires or how you pursue them. That's not your problem or mission to solve. Your mission is devotion to your heart's calling. Don't abandon yourself for the sake of being understood by others. What matters most is that your pursuits are clear to you, that you understand you. This one is so sourced from my own experience. Well, all of them are, But this one is it's just so specific, right? We hear a lot like, trust your intuition, don't be afraid. But this one, yeah, it's true. Like, I know in my life I have been misunderstood in my pursuits more than I haven't. Like, now so much of my life just makes sense. Like, whether it's family, and I have the best family, like super supportive, but like this girl over here, I've just always rebelled against anything that wasn't in line with what I truly wanted to experience. Like I couldn't just, let's just put it simple. There is nothing traditional about my life and how I've curated it. And when you're living outside, so far outside of a lot of the traditional, since, it's just, you're hard to understand, And for me, it never felt good to be misunderstood. 'Cause it almost feels like, yeah, just a lot of things. Like, it's, because to be understood is almost like you feel accepted, right? But even though in those moments where it didn't feel good, I never abandoned myself. I never left the mission from my heart, which was, no, sorry, like, you're going to live here and you're going to do this until that doesn't feel right anymore. And so this piece right here, don't abandon yourself for the sake of being understood by others. What matters most is that your pursuits are clear to you and that you understand you. That's so important. And it really is for the path of the brave. It's fuck, man. It's not easy, and no one wants to feel like, and not like I was an outcast, like outcasted by fucking anybody in my life or anything like that. Not at all. But it was still like, man, I knew my intention, my intention was ultimately just being driven from my heart, like saying, hey, I want you to try this. I want you to explore this and go this way. And that didn't always translate as, first of all, success. Didn't always look successful, in fact, at all, because there was so much struggle too, and of course, first of all, just because that's life, especially in your 20s. But, also because, again, when you're living so outside of these sort of traditional ways, like, oh, I graduated and I went to school and I did like you're already setting yourself up to face a lot more fucking challenge. I mean, yes, that was the life, like the sort of easier path would have been to do those traditional things where you roll from this into that, and now you establish this, and now you have this job, and now you're successful. Never was my path, ever. But now, all those dots that were kind of look like they were all over the place, they all make so much sense. Now some people in my life who didn't really get what I was doing or why, now they can see like, oh, okay, wow, this makes so much sense. And that's cool. And that feels good. And that makes me happy. Specific people I'm thinking about, but what actually feels better than anything is that despite those moments where I was not understood and whatever that produced in my life, I still never fucking abandoned myself and my mission. I stood true to it. I stayed true to the path, and that wasn't easy to do. But what was harder to do was to not do that. So I didn't. Does that make sense? I'll say it like this, kind of close this out. It's like there's pain on either side. You can choose to honor your authentic self and the path that comes with that. You choose that pain because there will be pain that comes with that. Or you can choose to not be true to yourself, to betray your authentic self. And then you get to experience the pain that comes with that. And for my life, experience. That pain was not an option for me. I couldn't do it. I signed up for the pain of being true to me and every fucking bit of the hardships that would come with this path versus I'm going to abandon self and I'm going to, fit into this or try this or please somebody over here. And, and then to me, that's a very scary kind of pain because a lot of times it doesn't even show up in the immediate, but it's a silent killer that's just fucking living in you. And it starts to get louder and louder and louder the more, because once you start doing it, you're just going to carry on with that shit. And, this is where a lot of people build out a life that they're not happy about living. They get to like a midpoint or some point in their life and they're like, damn, this isn't, who am I? What is this? Right? So to not become that person, or maybe you're that person right now and you're searching and you're trying to reestablish your sense of self and create a life that does fulfill you, then you have to be okay with being misunderstood as you pursue. And I'm not saying it's like a through line the whole way through. It's not like every step of your way you're misunderstood. I'm just saying at some or maybe many points there will be, it's like that quote, like first they call you crazy, then they call you genius. Because a lot of times you're like ahead of the game. You're doing some different shit that just doesn't register, Or you're making somebody very uncomfortable because you're choosing a path that is so foreign to them that they don't feel safe because they don't see the security in your path. And they want, so it's like a loving thing. And they want you to be secure and they want you to be, quote, successful. But maybe to them, the path that you're taking looks very like zigzaggy and not that, right? So you're making them uncomfortable and now you're misunderstood. There's so much I can unpack this just because, again, I've experienced this in my life, but what feels so good is to be sitting in this fucking chair, my podcast, as the woman that I am, the relationship that I have with myself that I've built, to know that what I have shared in the world so far has already made massive impact in the best ways, positive ways to so many lives. Maybe you're feeling that right now, and that makes me fucking really happy. Like my heart smiles. So this is like I don't want to say happy ending because I'm still fucking going. I feel like I'm a continuous state of beginning and I love that. But what I am saying is that that part of my life, the misunderstood part, is no longer here. It's no more here because it's also that thing. This is the final piece. Because I have stayed so true to who I am and to my path, it's like, I don't give you any other choice, but like, oh, you just start to fucking shit. It's who she is. That's how she is. It's that kind of thing, So there's a lot of different ways to tear this concept apart, but hopefully in all the ways that I did pull on the threads, all of it was to bring you to this place where you're okay if you're misunderstood at times in your life. But the most important thing is that you understand yourself, you're honest with yourself, and that you understand your pursuits and you don't abandon that. Never abandon yourself. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Don't abandon yourself. Run towards yourself. And on that note, I'm going to go back into a laughing fit. Oh, man. Final things to share. Substack, favorite platform. Love it. Substack.com, a publishing platform, a badass space, tons of creatives on there. If you like to read, if you like to learn, if you like to connect, if you like to grow with really authentic, heart-centric people who are just doing great things in the world, you will love it. If you like my writing, then you're going to love Substack because that's where my writing lives outside of the books that I'm writing right now. It's also where I am building more community. So there's interaction with community, my community there in Substack. So it's just a really rad place. So Roxanne Saffaie, it's in the show notes. And I hope this episode just really hit you in powerful ways. Let me know. Comment if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify. I love that Spotify, you can leave comments now too. And Instagram, Roxy Look. I'll catch you on the next one. To all my tender savages, to all you self-lovers, to all you magnetic badasses who are showing up every day authentically, courageously, who refuse to play small, I'm so excited to introduce our new lifestyle brand, La Roe & Pa, because we designed it just for you. Who's we? We is my work wife / wing woman / badass graphic artist, Paulina Stewart. Every design is a culmination of deep intention, love, fire, magic, heart, and soul brought to life through my writing and Paulina's graphic work. Because we are so intentional about every single statement, every design, we only drop one design a month. We want you to live it. We want you to feel the essence and the frequency of every design because they are so powerful, like you. So check it out, laroeandpa.com. It's in the show notes. The new drop is so sick, and I cannot wait to see all of you wearing it. You get a variety of products to choose from in each drop. So wear it on your head, hat. You can get socks. You can wear a hoodie. You can hang it on your wall. Whatever you end up doing, please do let us know by sharing it on your socials and your stories. Tag at Roxy Look, tag La Roe & Pa, and we will reshare the powerful, magnetic, badass beauty that you are. laroeandpa.com.